In the world of Little House on the Prairie, change was often framed as a test of faith. A blizzard would come, a crop would fail, a loved one would fall ill. But through it all, the Ingalls family held fast, united by love, resilience, and Pa's quiet wisdom. Yet behind the scenes, the show itself was facing a crisis far more complex than any prairie storm. And it began with a single decision: Melissa Sue Anderson's choice to walk away. To audiences, Anderson was Mary Ingalls, the gentle, studious eldest daughter whose journey from sighted schoolgirl to blind woman navigating life with grace became one of television's most moving arcs. Her performance earned her an Emmy nomination in 1978, the only Little House cast member ever honored by the Television Academy. But by season 5, something had shifted. The actress who once embraced Mary's quiet strength was growing restless, not because she disliked the role, but because she felt trapped by it. In her own words, Mary became a saint, and saints don't have flaws. Saints don't get angry. Saints don't want things for themselves. Anderson had watched as Laura, played by Melissa Gilbert, got to be impulsive, funny, rebellious, and romantic. Mary, meanwhile, was expected to be perfect, patient, selfless, always smiling through her blindness. The truth was, Mary's character had outgrown her story. After her marriage to Adam Kendall in season 4, the writers struggled to give her meaningful plot lines. She lived in a separate house. She taught at the school for the blind. She had a baby. But she was no longer part of the daily rhythm of the Ingalls, home, and Anderson felt it. She later revealed in interviews that she began negotiating with producers as early as season 5. She didn't want to leave entirely. She loved the cast, especially Karen Grassel and Michael Landon, but she needed creative freedom. She wanted Mary to have doubts, to argue, to make mistakes. The writers refused. So Anderson made a bold move. She asked for a reduced role. Starting in season 6, she would appear in only a handful of episodes per season. By season 7, she was gone almost entirely, returning only for the 2-part wedding of Laura and Almanzo. Her final on-screen appearance as Mary was in season 7, episode 20. Hello and Goodbye. The title was fitting, but her departure left a void, not just emotionally, but structurally. Little House on the Prairie had always revolved around 6 core characters: Charles, Caroline, Mary, Laura, Carrie, and later Grace. With Mary gone, the family dynamic tilted. Laura was growing up, spending more time with Almanzo. Carrie was still a child. There was no teenage presence in the Ingalls home. No one to carry the torch of youthful curiosity, moral questioning, and emotional vulnerability that had once belonged to both Mary and Laura. The show needed a new heart, and so, out of necessity, Albert Quinn Ingalls was born. Introduced in season 4 as a minor character, a troubled orphan taken in by the Ingalls, Albert was originally meant to be temporary. But when Anderson's exit became permanent, the writers saw an opportunity. In season 5, Albert returned. This time, he wasn't just a guest. He was adopted. Charles and Caroline officially made him their son. He moved into the bedroom once shared by Mary and Laura. He sat at the dinner table. He called them Ma and Pa. Overnight, Albert became the show's new emotional anchor. Played by Matthew Labyorteaux, Albert brought a rawness the series hadn't seen since early Laura. He was moody, introspective, fiercely loyal, and haunted by his past. He questioned authority. He ran away. He fell in love. He made mistakes and owned them. In many ways, Albert was the anti-Mary. Where Mary embodied grace under suffering, Albert embodied struggle with purpose. And the audience responded. But the real test came in season 8, when the writers faced their biggest challenge yet: how to keep the show relevant as its original child stars aged out. Laura was married. Mary was gone. Carrie was too young. The Ingalls' home felt empty. So they gave Albert a storyline that would shake the series to its core. leukemia. In the 1983 TV movie Little House, Blessing in Disguise, Albert is diagnosed with terminal cancer. The Ingalls family rallies around him. Charles searches desperately for a bone marrow donor. In a groundbreaking move, the episode ended without a miracle cure. Albert survived, but only after a grueling, realistic portrayal of illness, fear, and medical uncertainty. The impact was immediate. Across America, bone marrow donor registration surged by 300%. Hospitals reported calls from viewers asking, "How can I help someone like Albert?" It was television as public service, and it only happened because Melissa Sue Anderson had the courage to say, "I need more." But let's be clear, Anderson's departure wasn't just about creative differences. It was also about preserving her humanity. In a 2010 interview, she reflected, "I wasn't Mary. I was a 20-year-old woman who wanted to act, to grow, to explore. But Hollywood only saw the blind girl in the bonnet." After leaving Little House, she stepped away from acting almost entirely. She moved to Canada, raised a family, and lived a quiet life on her own terms. She never sought the spotlight again, and in doing so, she reclaimed her identity. Meanwhile, back on the prairie, Albert's presence reshaped the show's final years. He gave Charles someone to father. He gave Caroline someone to nurture. He gave Laura a confidant as she navigated married life. And when the series ended in 1983, it was Albert who stood beside the Ingalls in the final family photo, not as a replacement for Mary, but as proof that family isn't just blood, it's choice. Yet, the irony remains. The character created to fill Mary's absence ultimately honored what Mary represented: resilience, dignity, and the quiet strength of those who endure. Albert's leukemia arc echoed Mary's blindness. Both were stories about living fully in the face of loss. So, in a way, Mary never really left. She just changed form. Today, fans still debate, was Albert a necessary evolution or a desperate fix? But the truth is more nuanced. Melissa Sue Anderson didn't abandon Little House. She freed it. By refusing to be typecast, she forced the writers to take a risk, to imagine a new kind of family, to tell harder stories, and in doing so, she ensured the show didn't fade into sentimentality, but grew into something braver. Because great television isn't about keeping things the same, it's about having the courage to let go, so something new can take root, just like on the prairie, where after every winter something unexpected begins to grow.